Okay, good afternoon. This video is for Mary. She was concerned about giving the vaccine to her daughter who has very severe tree nut allergies. So first thing is, right now, the COVID vaccine has not been tested in children under age of 16, so it's not even approved for her daughter's age right now. They're currently studying ages 12 to 15. Once they do that, then they'll go from ages 5 to 11. They keep going down, down, down. So as far as food allergies and vaccines, it is applicable in some cases, and I'm going to tell you why. So if you remember, here's the virus with its antigens, okay? In order to make the vaccine, most vaccines, like the flu shot, what they do is they grow up a lot of virus, okay? And the way that they do that, remember, virus needs a host. They can't just put this in something magical and have it replicate itself. It needs a host, okay? It's frowned upon to inject it into somebody and then sacrifice the host, okay? So what they do for, in the case of flu shots, is they inject it into fertilized chicken eggs, okay? So while the little egg is busy trying to make a chick inside that the fluid, kind of like the embryonic fluid that is around any baby, this virus is injected in and it's busy replicating, okay? So in the case of back in the day, 1996, when I worked at Park Davis and I supervised flu vaccine production, they would inject, and 2 weeks, these eggs would turn every couple hours as if the mom was sitting on them to stimulate, the chick inside doing what it's supposed to do. And also this virus would just keep replicating, okay? At the end of the 2 weeks, they would go slice off the top of the egg, suck out the fluid, which contained the virus. It also contained, it's the white of the egg white, not the yolk, right? So it's sucking out the white. It's got all the egg proteins in it, right? So now you have a big old bottle of goodness, and it's got all this virus in it and all the egg proteins too. So then they take this, and it goes through a lot of steps, okay? The first thing that they do is they kill the virus, okay, so that it's no longer an active virus. Because right now, nobody wants this big old bottle of virus sitting around because it's live virus and can infect people. So they kill it. And yes, they use formaldehyde for that. At least in this case, they do. I can't say that they do that for all vaccines. So after they kill it, then they take this stuff and they use a lot of different scientific techniques to purify out what they want, okay? So now once they've killed the virus, the formaldehyde, what it does is it cracks this open, it dissolves this lipid layer, it totally disintegrates this DNA, and all you're left with are a bunch of these proteins floating around, okay, in the soup, okay? But it's also got some chicken egg proteins. I don't know how to do a question mark. Okay. So now we're left with a bucket of protein soup. Okay. Then what they're going to do is they're going to purify out just the ones that they want. Okay. They don't want this stuff. They only want these. Okay. So there are different ways to purify a protein. Okay, I won't bore you with all that details, but that's what 7 years of my doctorate was, so I can speak intelligently about it if I choose to. So at the end of the day, they take this protein soup and they get out, hope you can see this, just the proteins that they want, okay? Okay, and then this is what gets put into a syringe. Boom, that's what gets injected in. Now, along the way, there's a good possibility that even though they've done their very best to purify out and get only these proteins, you know, when you're dealing with a giant vat of protein soup and you're trying to only get certain ones, sometimes one of these little crazy egg proteins might wrap itself, cling to, buddy up with, pair, whatever you want to call it. It gets in, okay? So it might find its way into your final vaccine, okay? That's, yes, a contaminant, but it's not a lethal contaminant to anybody who's not anaphylactically allergic to this protein, okay? So that's why you will see on flu shots, if you are strongly allergic to eggs, we don't recommend this form of the vaccine. They do have specific flu shots that have been made in alternate host that is not chicken eggs, okay? Alternate hosts, well, let's not go into what they are and where they are. They're much more expensive. Chicken eggs are cheap, okay? That's why they use them. They're cheap, they're easy. PETA's not crying because you're not killing a bunch of animals. It's a chicken egg. It's not even, you know, it's nothing yet. Doesn't have a heartbeat yet, all that. So when it comes to being concerned about tree nut allergies, zero concern about a vaccine because there are no vaccines using any type of a tree nut as a host, okay? Not to my knowledge. I don't think it would make any commercial sense because the life cycle is way too long. For most, if they were really, really smart, scientists would make a recombinant protein. And recombinant protein is a whole nother thing, and I'll explain it in another video, and that is truly what my PhD was about, and I'm pretty sure I can sum it up in 5 minutes. But this should at least answer your question about concern about food allergies pertaining to this vaccine. This vaccine, if you remember, is mRNA. Oh, I gotta turn it a little so you can see. RNA, okay? It's not the protein yet. That's the beauty of this vaccine, right? It's not even using a different host to replicate you are the host. It's going to inject the mRNA into you. You're the host. You're not going to make the vaccine, you're not going to make the virus. You're going to make just the protein, these antigens. That's it. So there's no concern about any trace left of contamination because it's all you and your machinery. Okay, hope that answers it. Have a good one.